Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the Gemini channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Gemini. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take a lot more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play it as karmic themes, help you understand why your person's doing what they're doing, why you're attracted to who you're attracted to. What is all spiritual significance? You know, when we are able to look at our situation from all different perceptions, we're really able to see what resonates with us, which means our higher self, the God part of self, is able to really discern. The problem is a lot of times people come into our lives and we don't know them. We may feel as if we know them because there's a strong spiritual connection, because we've spent some time with them, because we trust them. But what we learn a lot of times is that karmic mates, past life karmic mates, are not what we think that they are. So I should say they're not who we think, they're not who we think that they are, you know, because they wear masks, they create illusions. So understanding why you attracted, who you attracted into your life, it's really healing because you're able to not just discern but and get a different outcome, but you learn to trust yourself. And that's really what having a good relationship with God is about. It's about learning how to trust your higher self, and the higher self is a God part of self that keeps you from being to being protected, really. And that's we a lot of times need that in our relationships. There's a lot of codependent relationships. There's a lot of really negative spirits. Leviathan is a spirit of codependency, and it keeps you bound to shame, victimization, betrayal. It's it's so when we're open to that, and that's being when we don't feel whole, when we don't feel connected to our creator. So we always want to feel connected to our creator by seeing the support, and the support works through us, through gut, intuition, inner knowing, but it also works through our environment to bring us what we need to heal, inevitably bring us back to wholeness. When we have shadows, we are fragmented. So again, it plays out within our relationships. So shadows focus on that. So it's not so much that it's a negative reading. However, you're going to see a lot of negative behavior. Try to focus on the healing aspects of it, of these readings, so that you can understand why things are happening, but so that you can then also incorporate the things that you need to do to actually heal, to alchemize the energy. You actually have to embody a new consciousness. So you take the awareness that you learn from these teachings and you apply it to your life so that you can again transcend the connection. Sometimes the connection actually works out and there really is love there. But if we get so caught up in the trigger of what's actually happening to the point that we're fighting with the person all the time, it's not going to work out. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not that serious, and sometimes it really is that serious, where we're connected to a narcissist, and then we're being told by the universe that we really need to give ourselves some self-love. It's more than less like we're attracting certain people to heal ourselves sometimes when we're that fragmented. Not all the time. Not all the time, but shadows are still shadows, big or small. They still, again, create separation and separation from our creator. And we never want to feel separate. So it gives us strength. That's what gives us our spiritual sovereignty. And the war on consciousness is done. So it's really time that we, you know, step into our true self, our higher self. So one day really heaven can be on earth. All right, the underlining energy is inferiority, inferiority. And so we always look at the underlining energy to see why is a person doing what they're doing or not doing what they should be doing. And so again, I feel like you're connected to someone that obviously doesn't feel confident about it. However, there is this Promethean fire that is stirring up inside of them. So, what don't they feel confident about doing? Let's see. What is it? I'm going to look at some of these energies. What do they not feel comfortable? That one jumped out at me. It's almost like this person is afraid to actually contact you because they feel like you're gonna like say that you're gonna tell them off, that you're gonna have a sharp tongue at them, okay? That you're gonna get clear cut, dead on, like you're gonna be truthful in what you have to say on how this person treated you. So I feel like they didn't treat you well. So the thing is, this person is afraid to contact you because what you said is true and they know this about themselves. That's why they feel inferior. However, they really do have feelings for you. Promethean fire is when you have all this passion, love, excitement. You have all these emotions and they're stirring up inside of you to the point that you want to hold back. If you want to hold back, right? You want to hold back because you feel guilty, you feel prideful. You're all in the lower energies, which this person was in all the lower energies because they're afraid of what you're going to tell them. However, they are not going to be able to hold themselves back from contacting you because all this energy has to go somewhere and it's like bothering them because Promethean fire is a form of passion too. It's just almost like it's just not just passion. It's anger, it's rage, it's happiness, it's sadness, it's every single emotion, almost like think of a tornado, right? With and that all the tornado is made up of all the different emotions that are stirring up inside of a person. So they were holding back because of feeling inferior. So, I always hate to look and see what did the person do. I don't like to start with that. Lately I've been trying to start with other things, but when it leads us that way, we have no choice to be like, okay, so what did you do? It's first of all, they don't know what they want. And they don't know what they want because they don't know what to do. They feel like they have no purpose. So they're just lost in life, this person, which means they tend to be very codependent. They look for the answers outside of themselves. So relationships don't normally work out for this person because, again, no person's going to fill you. And so what happens is they can fall in love and be very passionate about a person, but passion is lust when there's nothing backing it over time, right? So I feel like this person's like just again unaware. It's they're unaware of really like they don't trust themselves. That's what it is. So you're dealing with someone that's inferior because they don't trust themselves, which is a very bad thing because you're not going to see good behaviorisms with that. What you're going to see is, you know, um, addiction. You're going to see other like very negative um, things because, again, the person's in fear and they have anxiety, and it doesn't feel good to have anxiety. It doesn't feel good to be in the body when you have anxiety, when you don't know, and when you're looking for the answers and you can't find the answers and you're looking for it outside yourself. But then you also know that even if you find it outside yourself, it's going to be temporary. And there's always going to be something for something. It's like meaning that, like, if you go into a person's life and you expect them to help you, there's always that person expects things back. And I feel like this person has always given a lot more than gotten out of a relationship to the point that they got to the point where they don't give anything anymore. They don't trust themselves. So what happens is that I feel like this person actually tried to put themselves in competition with you. And when I say competition, it's like you're someone that was creating yourself. You're someone that has friends, but this person really thought who they were. I feel like they had a good position, maybe a good job. It's the way that they, wanted to be seen within the public eye more than really who they were. And so I feel like they couldn't be really happy for you and really supportive towards you because they didn't create who they really were. Again, they cared more about what they looked like in the public eye, but the foundation of who they were really weak. Meaning, like, you have to become yourself. This person is lost. They don't know what to do. So it's almost like they started to work for a firm and they got a good job. But going off to a job and coming home really is, again, doesn't give us confidence, or it gives us confidence to a certain point. But, this person wants attention. They want they want they want that emotional support because they're not fulfilled. There's a sense that you're fulfilled that bothers this person because again they want to feel more superior, so they put themselves in competition with you because again they feel inferior, they feel not good enough, you're not on the same vibration. So this makes the relationship very difficult because the person then is very childish. And so it becomes, as you can see, like very, like again, where the relationship becomes all about where the person is angry. They're getting triggered, or you're getting angry in the relationship. This person is getting triggered because, again, you're just doing your thing, and they're angry because their life really isn't working. They feel lost. They want, on some level, they're attracted to you because of your life, but understand the competition is almost like that this person would, do mean things to you to sabotage your career because again, they are not healed. They again stayed away from you because again of that showdown that they know that they're going to get, that they're like, I don't really want to hear it. I think that this person thought that they would use time and space as a way hoping that you would forget or not be as angry. And I think what happened is it worked the opposite. And that's what they're realizing. It worked the exact opposite. It's again where this person creates illusions. Like I said, they're the illusion that they were successful. I just feel like they had a business, that they might have been the front man, they might have been the manager, and they said that they own the place. You know what I mean? That they said that they had more than they really had. So they created this illusion, and then what happened is you came into their life, and here you live your true, authentic self. And so this person put themselves in competition with you, but you are really living an authentic lifestyle. That it's again, you're on your path, it's an unfoldment process. This person is living an illusion, a facade to make people like them for the recognition, for again, the money, the status, but they're not fulfilled and it's like I said, it's a lie. Half of it's a lie. Like they saying that they make more money, that they live a certain lifestyle, but it's like they're not free. It's again, so this person's actually paranoid of how much do you know? What are you doing? Like again, what are you doing? Are you meeting someone else? Are you like this person's paranoid because they put themselves in a place where they know that they have to talk to you. And this person likes this to kind of come across like, as I said, superior, and they know that they're not going to be able to get back into your life being all witty, you know? This person now knows that they have to be very like skilled, like come in and act as if they're really ready to be like in a relationship, though they don't know like whether or not you want that. So that puts this person in a very vulnerable position because again, it first of all it humbles them and it puts them in a very vulnerable position because you can reject them and understand that that's how this why this person does what they do. It's again there's a fear, a terror of rejection. So again, which keeps them staying in a very low vibration. So again, this person is holding back. They're trying to hold back. They're suppressing their emotions through eating, stuffing their emotions down because of fear. That this person's not looking and saying, what can I really do to help myself? What can I really do to help myself? They're not doing anything. So when we don't do anything, the higher self, the God part of self knows that we're not doing something and that there's a problem. Like clearly there's a problem. So we have to do something with our energy. We have to channel that nervous energy into something. Otherwise, it becomes part of that Promethean fire, part of that lust, that anger, that fear, that all the different emotions that this person has because they have feelings for you, but they also have a lot of unresolved trauma that is kicking up all those different feelings and emotions. Again, if they need to do the inner child healing, and that's what it's bringing them back, because otherwise it winds up being a karmic contract, because that's what, again, this person doesn't get into good relationships. They don't trust themselves. So they're trying to be a little bit more, strategic. They're trying to be a little bit more like, but they don't trust themselves. So they don't listen to their higher self. They listen to their ego, which is always coming from a place of fear because of their past experiences. So they're never going to be able to really create a balanced connection. They're always going to create a karmic connection, which is all about codependency, being bound to that spirit, as I was saying, of Leviathan or whatever. It's not like it's a spirit of of I think so. Like again, it's a spirit of codependency. It's a very evil, dark spirit, and it binds you to shame. It binds you to like these lower energies. So it's again, I want to get the name right for you guys. I know how to spell it, but that's not going to help you. It's like my pronunciations I need to work on. But I'm gonna get the name for you. Leviathan, Leviathan. So it's spelled Leviathan, and it's the spirit of bondage. And it's again when we are open to that, we become like entwined into this like very toxic relationship that's codependency that binds you to feeling like worthless, not good enough. It's very toxic. It drains your emotions. It makes you sick. It makes one really physically sick because you get cortisol belly, it changes the entire body constitution. It's almost like you feel like you have a parasite. And so that's what happens when you're in a connection like this. This is why this person gets into those relationships and they're like, I don't even want to be in a relationship because they're unaware of how they create it and they're unaware really of who they are. And so that happens when there is a lot of trauma that hasn't been healed, and usually childhood trauma. Again, because they got into the codependency relationship because they didn't create themselves enough. They weren't whole themselves, right? So that's when karmic contracts happen, when we don't not fulfilled ourselves, when we're not on our soul's path, when we don't have a connection to the divine, when we don't have connection to other people, and we're not going to if we feel inadequate and we are so busy creating illusions. And also all these perceptions create so much crazy emotion inside one, right? Because our thoughts create our emotions, and this person isn't really letting those emotions flow. They're pushing their feelings and emotions down through eating and through other addictions, family patterns. And family patterns is like it's just, I grew up in an environment where I learned how to deal with stress, how to deal with life, and it's usually through addictions and it's through avoidance and it's through, you know, living more from those lower energies. So again, this person has feelings for you, but they're holding back because again, they know they didn't treat you well. And so again, they're going to be impulsive because first of all, that's their nature. That's their nature to be impulsive because trauma does that. It's that they don't think, they go, they're reactionary. That's number one. Number two, they have low energy. That low energy is very draining. So they have very addictive energy. So again, that's that they live from their impulse, like this, from being like impulsive. And so even though they are terrified of rejection, and didn't ask for, for forgiveness. They know that you're kind of waiting for that. And this person wouldn't even, like, again, when the argument first happened, separation first happened, they would never, ever, 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 ever even thought of forgiving you because they were so prideful, where in order for them to come back, they have to now put themselves on the line. They have to do what they don't want to do, which is come back and ask for forgiveness, be humble, be transparent. And it's all the things that this person doesn't really know how to do because it's like they're not healed. That's the problem. Again, it goes back to the family trauma for this person. So what this relationship is doing is kicking up a lot of fears. It's kicking up a lot of making this person revisit their childhood, making this person look at their habits, look at that, their behaviorisms, and it makes them sad. It makes them sad. And that's really, again, that energy of pain, which when we stay in these bad habits and behaviorisms, we cut ourselves off from love. Well, it comes out within the behaviorisms where this person is always winds up feeling alone. And it's because their relationships don't work out. And it's like we have to say, well, get to the deeper problem of it. And then we'll see what this person's going to do, if they will ever heal. And we'll look at the spiritual significance. Because when a relationship isn't going to work out because the person's not healed and you're not going to lower your energy, you know what I mean? You're not going to lower your vibration, which just means you're not going to settle for less. You know who you are. You're going to hold to a certain standard. This person may not really be able to hold to that standard because they don't do it for themselves. So I do this so you can see that it has nothing to do with you. You can have a soul mate that you really truly love and care about. However, they're not healed. So they can only meet you at the level that they can meet you of where they're at. And so again, it's about looking then about where you need healing. But I like to do this part, like I said, so that you can see, well, this person is really fragmented, so they're always going to want to control you. And they might even accuse you of wanting to control them because the way that they control is through baby games, through being childish, through doing what they want, having risky behavior, where you're going to be in a connection with them. You're going to be telling them, like, be the, like this person's mother. And so they would perceive that you being controlling. So you wouldn't be allowed to set certain boundaries. What would that do for your life? This person also, like, they have addictions. I said that before. They have addictions with food. They have addictions through whether that's drinking, pills, smoking. It's like they don't show up for themselves. They don't love themselves. So we can see the spiritual disease right there. And then it's again, they want you to be consumed with them. Otherwise, they get very obsessed with you, jealous, and life would be chaotic. And so it's either one extreme or another. They want you to be obsessed with them, like I said, because they need that supply because they're not fulfilled on their own. So what happens is that this person has again a lot of pride. So they will continue to try to control and dominate to get what they want. So they're never really going to be transparent either. So that's the thing. It's like they would not want you to look beyond the romance. And hey, in the beginning, I think that you didn't look beyond the romance. Again, you finally saw between the illusions. that they had created. And when you looked real deep within inside of them, well, when you got close, you saw who this person was, that they would, they're just not healed. And you didn't want to be in a relationship where you always had to read between the lines because this person doesn't really want a relationship. They want to be free. They want to be free. They were never a child. And they were never a child, so they never found themselves. So every relationship they go into, they would again, they're looking for someone to like be the parent to fix them, to heal them. It's a codependency, like I said, from not having a connection to themselves, to their higher power, to anything in the world. There's detachment and disassociation. We're not going to go back to this person's childhood, but we saw it within this person's behaviorisms and why the connection wouldn't work out. So you have to ask yourself, why would you attract a person like this into your life? What's the whole point? So like wind up with a person that wants to be with me so that I can take care of them. Like, is that fair to me? Like, what is that? Well, understand it doesn't start off that way. It starts off with two people that aren't 100% fulfilled within inside themselves. They're fragmented. So it's more or less that spirit brings you what you need, not what you want. But did that person have feelings for you in the beginning? Absolutely. It's again, without that spiritual connection, there wouldn't be a spiritual lesson because no one would stick around. When there's no chemistry, I'm not attracted to you, so why am I even here? The whole point of why we invest with other people when we're in relationships is first, it's like I want to get to know you, I like you. So it's again, but somehow when it's a fragmented person, the person looks at the person as like a whole, meaning like, well, you'd be good for me. You're a good provider. You're this would be good because you could do this for me. Meaning like, well, you're very popular. People tend to like you, so that's going to make me look better. So again, they're not liking you for just you. They like you for what you bring to the table. They like you for the essence of you. And that is what that negative spirit wants to steal. It wants to steal your essence. It wants to steal that because this person doesn't have that. So it becomes a very narcissistic energy where like you feel like you're with someone that's like a parasite. So even though this person has been in those relationships, that's all that they know how. So they will continue to create that until they heal the inadequacies because go into the relationship and it forces you to then, like I said, mold to making that relationship work. You have to lower your vibration. And so that leaves you open to that negative spirit, which you don't want to do. So again, we have to say, well, why would you attract that person into your life? And it's like, well, there's many reasons why, we're mirrors of whom what comes into our life and, you know, but we always have to look at the inner child wounds because, hey, that's where the fragmentation usually starts, right? Because there's a karmic theme that plays out. It doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, you had a miserable childhood. Sometimes that we get felt inadequate. Sometimes we felt like we weren't enough, and it had nothing to do with our family. It just had to do with experiences. Sometimes we're not just uncovering wounds, sometimes we're uncovering our gifts. There's many different reasons on why. So card number one, oppression. But looking at the inner child wounds, though, to see again where the fragmentation came from. Love, space, unworthy, self-sabotage, trauma, laughter. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I pulled an extra one, so that laughter didn't really need to come out, but we'll take it anyway. because obviously if there was trauma where you grew up and where because you were oppressed, oppressed, this is an ugly card with this person stepping on this other person's head. But what always strikes me is this other person that you don't see their body, but it almost seems like this person is like, they're like happy. They're like, they're okay with them. So it's almost like this person adopted that energy, like the parent, like has that aggression where they would be oppressed. And so that child took on, like, again, that behavior to keep, people down, to stop them. So I feel like you grew up in an environment where it wasn't just a parent that did that, but there was, you felt like your siblings did that. Again, that there was the sense of, that you couldn't have your unique unfoldment process. And that unique unfoldment process was just finding who you were. There was a lot of judgment. Oppression can be emotional, it can be psychological, it can be physical. Here it suggests that it was also physical. Doesn't need to be, but the trauma was severe to the point where you again felt unworthy, not good enough because you didn't get love. And so when we don't get love, we're not creating our life. Look at all this space because we're not our trauma, right? Space to grow, space to create. This is a lot of empty space. And so alchemy tells us that we can't just get rid of negative energy. We actually have to embody a new consciousness. In order to transmute negative energy, we have to turn it into some sort of positive energy by embodying a new consciousness, one that's more in alignment with the laws of God, the laws of love, the laws of nature, the laws of the universe, because they're all the same thing. So the way that that's happened is, like I said, that we love ourselves. We learn to love ourselves, and we do that by investing in ourselves. We see here is self-sabotage behavior, which is not uncommon if a child feels unworthy and they feel not good enough because they were traumatized and oppressed. They're going to, again, use like squander their energy on, other people, other situations, other experiences, because they don't think that they're important. They don't think that they're worthy because they were taught that they were unworthy. They needed to learn how to love themselves, so that, to not be oppressed. They feel like if you would have gotten together with this person, you would have again went right into like a karmic contract of, you know, one that bound you to this exact energy, one where you would not feel like you were loved. This person would make you feel unworthy. They would suppress you, take your essence from you. Again, Leviathan. I keep trying to say that spiritual, like that spirit, that evil spirit, Leviathan is like Leviquin, which I know it's not, but it's like you can read about it. It's like it's that evil spirit, and that it's all about codependency and bond and keeping you stuck in the bondage of pain that comes from you know, that trauma where you're feeling unloved, you're feeling like that you're relying on somebody else. Because when you're reliant with somebody else, it means that they're in charge of your happiness, they're in charge of everything. And it's just, they steal your energy. So it's not a good energy. So spirit saying that's why you grew up that way. So clearly there was no laughter, there was no joy, there was no passion, you know. So that's why I feel like you've done work on yourself. With going through this situation, you had to say, well, do you want to be with somebody that, it's all about you giving your energy to them because they show you that they don't give anything? Or are you going to put the energy into yourself? And what you did is you put the energy into yourself, or your need to put the energy into yourself. And so Spirit says, if you are needing to put the energy into yourself, understand it wouldn't be common to feel like really fatigued, really drained. So I'm actually going to link that blog that I wrote in the description box. It's up on Medium. Guys, check it out. It's about that spirit that keeps us again stuck in that bondage and that pain. And so, because there's actually healing modalities on it to help you heal what you need to do in order to heal yourself. But through this reading right now, Spirit says, first of all, release control. A lot of times, the whole dynamic of those relationships, it's all about control. It's like you don't have any control. That person has the control. You want the control. It's all about you trying to get control. It's like release control, but let go. Let go of this person, what you did, and then just let go. Surrender to your process as well, your unfoldment process. And that's of finding yourself wherever you are in the process. Don't say, well, it needs to be like I get up in the morning at like 5 and create a daily practice for yourself. One that, again, helps you stay balanced, make time for every aspect of your life when you've been in one of these relationships. And what it means is just let life unfold. Again, don't judge your process. It's all about the alchemy, but you're using like this energy, this negative energy needs to be channeled into some sort of purpose. You have to again um alchemize the energy because negative energy is just emotional and psychological and is held in the body as stress. We don't see it, but we can feel it. So we have to do something with that unseen energy. And what we can do is we can create with it. And so you pour into whatever it is that you love. You become what you love. You become the alchemist of what you love. And then you might say, I don't love anything. Well, you need to start somewhere. So start by healing yourself. Maybe you need to be a healer. Maybe you're going on your own unique healing journey and you don't exactly know what type of healer you'll be, but you'll get to the destination. Every master starts off as a disaster, it can bring you to your path. This is how you make lemonade out of lemons. You have to do something with the energy. You can't just keep it sitting there because it keeps you locked in the perception. And you're going to stay and feeling unworthy and not good about yourself and self-sabotage yourself because you're going to try to get the energy outside of yourself. No, what you did is you're alchemizing the energy. And when you do, you have to release control because it's not up to you how it's done. It's done by you and your creator. You are doing your part by being interactive in your life, but you don't know who's coming into your life and the situations that are going to unfold within your life that are going to help you get to actually alchemize that energy. That's why you have to be present. That's why you have to be in the moment. That's why you have to be in the now. And you have to have unshakable faith. Faith is the bridge that connects you to what we sow to what we reap. So if you plant corn, you're getting corn. So remember, you want to stand in faith, but you want to be, again, channeling that energy towards purpose, having a focus, being interactive in life, being the alchemist of your life means that you're the participant in your life. That it means you have to ground to make that happen. That's being interactive in life, loving your life, and believing in the higher power, believing that there's, again, a greater force that's working through you and working through your environment to help you create your life. And understand that every situation, even the hard ones, are here to help grow us in our faith, grow us in, really like that relationship with God. It's like that is our Father, right? That's what's going to help us get to where we need to be because it's an extension of us. We have it's power, like father, like son. Well, it's the same thing. It's like we have that spiritual sovereignty to be able to really create the life and the life that we want to experience. But we have to be able to do something with the negative energy. And the negative energy is something that just happens from life experiences, from being human. It's that we were never taught how to work with the emotions and what those emotions can do. I saw firsthand what those emotions can do. My father had cancer over 8 times. He had upper and lower back surgery, 2 hip replacements. He was a genius in school. All the energy was up in his head. He skipped grades in school, and he was the nicest guy that you'd ever want to meet. He just wasn't nice to himself. And he was with a person that was like this. Someone that would steal your energy, steal your essence because of, again, the pain that they went through. So, again, two fragmented people got codependent, and that codependency created havoc. And it created, and this is how ancestral karma is passed down because we grow up in that environment. So healing is imperative. When you heal, you're able to actually harness your inner vitality to fuel your journey in the power by the divine, because life is all a co-creation process. That's what it is. It's a co-creation process, realizing that you're not separate from your creator, that their creator is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscience, meaning it's everywhere, it's ubiquitous, it's the prana that we breathe. It's that spirit, but we have to be free energetically of those spiritual blockages. So otherwise, it makes it very difficult for that energy to work through us, to flow through us. So what winds up happening is karmic experiences play out within our life experiences as ways to teach us and heal us spiritually. And when we do heal them, we can transcend the limitations of our ego. And that allows us to really be able to create. It allows us to really harness our energy the way that we are supposed to. And Spirit says you had to go through this experience. Even though it was a painful experience, it was a bad experience, it was one to make you step into your best energy. It wasn't a bad experience. It was bad because there was, you know, it kicked up your inner childhood wounds. It made you realize, like, what you went through. Again, because it's like, well, like, this is why I've been settling for less, and this is what I need to do. Thank you for showing me that this person came into your life to show you what needed to be healed. And so, no, it wasn't like a happy story, but it's one that inevitably is going to allow you to create, again, a much better life because that energy now is transmuted and you were taught how to alchemize the energy. So you're going to be able to step into you know, a better version of yourself. And that is going to make you be able to attract better things, things that are more in alignment with who you are instead of the wounds of your past. And we leave off with one more message. What is the advice? What is any extra advice? Learning to love myself. Well, obviously that would be have to be because like you attracted this person and also, you know, you were taught not to, pretty much. If someone's oppressing you, right, they're keeping you down, not letting you be who you are, there would be a part of you that was taught from a very young age not to like yourself, not to love yourself. And that is traumatic because if we don't love ourselves, we're constantly looking for that outside of ourselves and wanting it, just wanting that love, but then feeling like we can't have it and never being able to manifest it. So we could come across as overly needy, overly emotional, because the reality for you was that you didn't have it. So self-sabotage is I'm not looking at really who the person is. I just want that emotional support. Might have been what has happened instead of, you know, saying this person's really broken and though I feel bad for them and I'll pray for them and I'll send them good resources, that you always felt the need to be the fixer, the helper within the relationship. Again, self-sabotaging. Person has got to want to do it. And connecting to, codependent people, they don't really want to do it. They're lazy. And again, and changing doesn't feel good because healing doesn't feel good. So Spirit says it was about learning to love yourself, to choose to see the beauty in you, the wealth that lies in your nature and your potential. You transform your weaknesses into strengths. You realize that you are a being of light and you allow yourself to shine. But it's about learning to love yourself. You were taught not to, and that's why this person came into your life to teach you. They also helped you alchemize that energy, and that needed to happen. So we can see why there would be such a strong, chemistry, and you'd think that that person was your soulmate, your twin flame, because the divine had a hand in the connection. It was a lesson. The universe brought you this person as a lesson. I'm going to leave that there. Gemini, you let me know how you resonated, and I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.